to start with the game, when you first open it, it's, the Mog Dog developer logo. And then the second thing you see is your logo. And that's just, that logo really stuck in my mind. And I was just wondering what it feels like to be part of something that has been super successful and also really well loved and received. What's that like for you?
I think it's pretty joyous. I get a lot of DMs all the time of people asking me stuff, but I feel like people are a little frightened, to ask me anything. It's not like I'm better than these people. It's it's what I always say, that 1 is infinitely bigger than 0. And it's I'm not saying, this is not negative, but these people are at a metaphorical 0. I'm not saying that they are zeros and I'm some sort of hero, but I'm literally at 1 here. I just got lucky. I've been making music for 2 or 3 years now. I played an indie game called Frank, and it had, none of the music was made for the game. They took really old royalty-free music, and it's full of, or not, some of it's not royalty-free, some of it is anime soundtracks, which probably are not, but the game is free, so whatever. And that soundtrack was so good, I had to start making music. So I bought a little keyboard off Amazon. It came with a free copy of Ableton Lite, which I used for years, but it only has 8 tracks maximum. So I was only able to use 8 instruments at once. And it wasn't too bad for Nubby because it's all MIDI instruments, just playing shit on the piano. But when you use samples, it gets crowded and you just run out of room. But I did finally buy the full version with the Bandcamp money I made. Because I went straight to PayPal, and it can just be pay with PayPal. I'm okay.
Yeah. Did that full version, was it a huge difference? You're oh yeah, I don't know how I was using the light version for so long.
It's the full version has more stock stuff in it, which is really nice, auto-tune and stuff, which, once my next rap single comes out, you're going to be hearing that. But, Ableton Lite came with a lot of good audio effects, echoes and stuff, and the stock instruments were crappy, but, some of that stuff Lady Gaga used, so it's okay.
Do you use mostly, do you do any live instrument recording at all, or is it all samples?
Oh, the way I do it is I have the tiny piano. When I'm trying to find out what to do, I just noodle around and hit chords at random. And then once I find something, I just record it. I'm not too good at piano, but I know where the notes are, and that's all I need.
Right.
Kind of weird place I'm at. And so I put it in, and then I go in and I kind of give it a haircut, make it sound in time. But sometimes I program the music, and I have a guitar, and I have the Rock Band 2014 cable, so I can hook up, which I might for new stuff, but also recording live is hard because there's going to be a delay, but you can just move it over.
Right. The drums that you make, I almost thought they were live recorded just because they are groovy. Oh, they are. Do you
some of them
finger drum? Do you tap or?
I always program my drums. The only time I play drums live, the only live part of the drums is usually the kick and the snare, because I don't have the hand-eye, or there's no eyes involved. I don't have the coordination to play more than 2 things going on a separate rhythm. But in some of the tracks, rather than use MIDI drums, I have a ton of sample CDs that I found on Internet Archive that I just download them off there for free. It's a lot of stuff that was used in Jet Set Radio and stuff like that, so that's really nice. And so the one I had was Guerrilla Warfare, which is these crazy just drums that are just kind of just shaking their boobies in your face, man.
Is that a drum kit?
It has kits in it. It has each individual sound, but it also has loops that either are recorded or they program them for you. And they are just so crazy at full speed, but for the Nubby ones, they're slowed down to quarter speed. And I thought that was kind of a neat unique thing to
Oh,
do. So
so
it really
the drum
gives,
loops they're slowed down.
they're like
Of
really slowed down.
oh, okay.
Like the tracks are like at 85 BPM, and those drum loops are at like double. Yeah, I guess I wouldn't say quarter. They're at like 165. They're so
Oh,
crazy.
oh, they sound great slowed down like that. Like I almost thought it was like live drums because got like a really nice
They were
groove.
live at some point.
Right. Wow. Okay.
I've
Yeah.
had people do like, or there's one guy who did this like medley. He played some of the soundtrack live, and that was quite impressive. It's like strange though, you know. He's like more talented than me on instruments like piano. It's like, what is my bum ass music doing being played by his fingers, man? I could never play like him, but I guess I could compose unlike him. Some stuff that's really convenient about being a composer is when you make songs, you can look back on old ideas and reuse them because it's like it's mine, you know?
Yeah.
If I built a house and I'm gonna go sit down in it, I'm not gonna be like ashamed to go in that house, bro. I built that house and I can build more of those houses, and I'm gonna be sitting down and looking.
That seems like a powerful thing, like a library built up of your own doing that you can
Because
just sample. Yeah, like sampling yourself that's pretty sick.
I'm really, I like the Mother series a lot. I played all those games. They're interesting. I'd say if you're gonna play one of them, play Mother 3.
Mm-hmm.
Get the fan translation. I wish they would do it themselves, but there's so much stuff in that game that is really complicated to deal with nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, like in the Mother games, they use music from Mother 1 again, but with the new technology they have, they can make it better. And like, there's also the Mother album, which was like a vocal album released like right after Mother 1 came out. And so a lot of the songs in Earthbound are like, they just take the songs off the album and like recreate them with the SNES. And it's interesting to hear the Earthbound songs first and go into the album. And it's like, wow, they probably sampled the instruments off this album. But that's such a good album. It's worth a listen.
Is that something you've drawn like inspiration from in your own music?
Somewhat. I'm honestly not really, when it comes to music at least, like if I'm drawing, you gotta take reference, but when it comes to music, I kind of seldom take inspiration. It's mostly like I have to be doing like some type of menial work, like washing the dishes or, you know, putting something in a big oven or something, and then I'll think of something, and then I can maybe just keep a note on that in my head. It's all mostly just comes within. There's probably some unconscious copying,
Right.
but only every now and again will I actually take inspiration from another song.
So when you were like making the Nubby soundtrack, well, how long ago was that you like finished it?
Finished it?
Yeah, the track list.
Well, I guess I could look at my YouTube and see, because once I made them, I'm pretty sure right after I uploaded them. Looks like popular now. I think that'd be the right one. There we go. Looks like 2 months ago I finished them up.
So it wasn't like you had the soundtrack done for the game, like early on in development, like you kind of finished up around the same time as development?
I found him out pretty late in development. Like the game was pretty fun to play already, and like it, of course, it didn't have music, but he kind of bit by bit got me making the soundtrack. Like I made the song for the sun exploding first because you know how it is. Like I don't get inspired by other music. When I saw that sun exploding, it kind of put the idea in my head. Every like bit of that, but you know, I kind of built it bit by bit. I think I made the sun exploding the title theme, which was originally the level theme, but it got kind of moved over. And then I made the 2 level themes, and like the pause theme was originally going to be the shop theme, but if you had that going off so much, it just was kind of annoying in the end, so it got changed to the pause theme. And then the actual pause theme goes unused, which I feel a bit conflicted about. So yeah, it was like I made the base roster of tracks first, with a couple extras that aren't in the game yet, like cosmetics and warehouse. And then once the game came out, before it came out, we were thinking of doing what has been done now, which is having the music dynamically change like it's Banjo-Kazooie when you get to the next like level in the game, which I'm a big fan of as well. And it's a good trick, and I'm a genius because, you know, it's like you keep all 4 tracks playing at once at all times, and you just turn one up and turn one down, and it's always synced up because they're all at the same BPM.
Yeah,
but yeah, I wish we would have put
something I think that really stands out in the game. Like I noticed the way like the tracks flow into each other. But what were you saying that you noticed?
I wish we would have put them in at the start, but we didn't know that it would get so popular. Like I think I'd have to shout out Northern Lion for doing that.
Wow. What
I'm
did
thinking
you
about
think,
that.
like when you saw him playing? Like I'm sure you watched him before this.
No, I was thinking, who is this bald guy? He's so popular and I don't know about him.
Really?
When Vine Sauce played that shit,
okay.
I was like kind of weirded out at first because it's like I've been watching this guy since like for over 10 years, at least 12 years, since like 2013. And now all of a sudden this guy who is like my internet uncle has acknowledged something I made. Like he said the Game Over theme sound like Pilot Wings, and I'm like, wow, bro, how is this possible that this guy who has had like one layer of separation from me has all of a sudden has been reconnected?
Yeah, that had to have been so like mind-blowing for you. Like I can't imagine that. Well, that's sick. So you mentioned you played the game, and then you played the game and there's no music in it. Like, did you have a relationship with Mog Dog like before that? Like, did you know them? How did he like come to you for the track list?
You know, like I do 8 hours a day, I was scrolling TikTok and I saw the game. I'd never seen it before, but it was like kind of cool looking. I mean, obviously you know how it looks, although it didn't have a background before. It was just on black, which was kind of striking. But yeah, I saw it and I looked through his account because it was cool. But I realized none of the music he had in the videos was original. It was all like TikTok sounds. So I commented on one of his videos. I was like, do you need a soundtrack for the game? And I think he was like, yeah. I think I said, like, do you need a soundtrack for the game? I can make it for you. He's like, yeah, friend me on Discord. I'll talk to you on there. And then I talked to him. He's like, yeah, I'll keep you in my back pocket there. But then I saw that I was playing the game and having a ball. And then I saw the sun exploding. And I was like, am I overstepping boundaries if I make a little Game Over theme? And I was like, whatever, man. You lose, you lose. Or you win, you take 100% of the shots you don't miss, man. Shit, like that Wayne Gretzky type of thing. And so I made that, and it got a very positive reaction from him, so that was very good. And so he kind of sent me a Google Doc, or no, he didn't send me a Google Doc. He made like a paragraph on Discord, and I put that to a Google Doc and kind of crossed stuff out as I finished it. But yeah, that's kind of how it started. And so, you know, we've kind of had a business. I never knew him before. We just kind of have a business casual relationship, like I do with kind of this tied up strange. You know, that's kind of our relationship. You know? Kind of professional, but also we'd be calling each other like Big Dog and sending gifts to each other.
That's sick. That's like honestly not what I expected. Like just seeing the game on TikTok and shooting your shot like that.
I mean, that's what I pretty much have done before. You know, I just ask if they need someone, and I just got lucky. Honestly, I think anybody who makes music shouldn't, if they're listening to this, they shouldn't feel like I am some golden god above them, man. I'm just like you, but I am just luckier than you. Ha ha ha. Well, but it's okay. I think anybody can make it. Honestly, it's lucky, but you know, will I ever get this lucky again, or will this be my one hurrah? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I think I'm gonna be thinking about what you said earlier a lot, just of like, you know, their zeros I'm a 1, not in a bad way, but like, just
But it's like
putting yourself
I'm
out
a
there.
1
Like,
out of 100. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but like you've made that first step. Like you have done something. I think the hardest
Yeah.
thing to do, and anything that
something.
you want to do is start. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just
You know,
that
because
first
people get stuck in this research phase. I think
step.
it's the same thing with going to the gym. People like just watch videos. They're like, I need the most in-depth and perfect. I need like the best exercise for my bicep. And they look and look and look, and it's like, brother, you're digging this hole in the ground when you should be taking off to the skies, man.
So you were making the track list. Did Mogdog like give you any type of like direction for style or like how he wanted it to sound? Like, was there any back and forth, or did he kind of just say, hey, like, here's what we need, run wild?
It's a mix of the both, honestly. It's like he gave me a broad outline. Like he kind of, since the game is styled like those old computer games, he kind of wanted like a more lo-fi track sound. So I used a lot of sound fonts with like the old Windows MIDI sound and like stuff from like just old video games that I love, and so that the tracks aren't very high fidelity, but it's kind of nice and soft on the ears,
And
So you got them high frequencies; those suckers get kind of cut like a knife. But I'd say the music for Nubby is very dull in a good way. But I would make a track, I'd send it in, he'd give me direction. Usually, the only thing I'd have to change is tracks being a little too crazy. Like, I'm a bit of a maximalist sometimes.
Like bonus,
like
track 17. That one's like totally different.
Yeah,
Was there more stuff like that in there at first?
The Wind theme had crazy drums and bass. Like, it had like one of those jungle drums at full speed. Honestly, if I can find it, I could maybe.
Would have liked that.
If I can find it, I'll show it to you. I'll dig through my files right now, and if I can find it, I'll stream it to you.
Okay.
But usually I'd have to just tone stuff down. And honestly, I'll tell you what, it's easier to make music when you're being directed, because I don't know. It's just like when you're making your own stuff, it's like you're kind of cutting into the bush there, but where are you going? When you got someone telling you what to do, you got a little parrot on your shoulder saying something in you. Okay, this is the one, man. It was crazy.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know. I think it works. It's pretty. It fits well with the rest of the tracks the way it is now.
But it's, I think it was a little too jungle.
Yeah.
It kind of maybe give a player a heart attack after what they had been listening to before. But yeah, it's okay. I think the one track that never needed any changes was the Endless theme, because I made like the first minute of the Endless theme to send it to him to see if he liked it. And that theme, actually, that's one theme that took inspiration from music. That was a Metallic Madness from Sonic CD. I took a lot of inspiration from that. Mainly how the chords go. It's a very dark song.
That might be one of my favorite tracks, just in the context of the game too, because like you're not always hearing that one, but when you do, it's like it deserves to pop off. Like it's like my most hype track for sure.
It's like 7 minutes long too. I mean, I did not make 7 minutes of music. I made like 3.5. But there's one little section
on top, right? Different.
It like switches.
That get added in and taken out. Like
it's very long. It's a very much a long song. I kind of switched which key center I'm at throughout it. It starts like at an E and then it goes to. It starts. Where did it start at? You know what? Who knows? Oh, it was an A, and then it goes to E, and then D, something else. The second loop around is where you get that C major part, that kind of Brazilian sounding part that sneaks in there. But yeah, people like that track a lot, which I'm glad about, because I guess that's the one track I fully directorialed.
No, it's a great one. And those extra tracks that aren't in the game as of right now, like, do you know anything about if we'll ever hear them in the game?
Oh yeah, well here, it's obvious what cosmetics is. You're gonna be able to dress up Nubby at some point in the future. Put like a cowboy hat on him or something. The warehouse. Now that is like, it's like, have you ever played Sonic Generations?
No. Is that with the Child Gardens though?
No, that's the one where they like go to all the different levels from like past games, and it's really good. You should
Okay.
play it. It's too bad they delisted the old version because it was cheaper. They got the new one up with the guy in it. Ha. But anyway, it's like it'll just be like a room for like your collection of like items and like descriptions about them and like
Yeah.
other stuff. It's like your Pokédex, your Nubby Dex there.
Or like in
And,
Smash Melee, the trophy room.
Yeah, sort of. It's like all the items are like the trophies, and you
Right.
gotta see them all. But it'll take a while with some of those rare items, the ultra rare one. And he keeps adding them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's
I like the song I made for that one too.
And then where are we gonna hear bonus?
It's already in the game.
It is?
You want to know how to hear it?
Ooh, I do. What's the secret?
When the game is starting up, and you see my green goblin, right-click on him as much as you can,
Oh.
and you will hear the track. It will play, and it will not stop playing until you close the game. Like nothing will stop it.
Oh,
And so like on the title screen, it'll keep playing, and then once you load up the game music will play at the same time as the bonus track.
Mm-hmm.
And also in the files, it's called Amazing Song.wave. So it was properly titled. But yeah, it's like you try to play one round with that song playing, and it's
Yeah.
like I need to shut this off.
I actually saw
That song is
a
a
Reddit post.
that song is a live performance. The trumpet on that is live.
Oh.
The drums are just from like Guerrilla Warfare, Guerrilla Frenzy or something.
I saw a Reddit post. Somebody posted they were playing Nubbies, and they said that like in the title screen some insane music came on, and they couldn't shut it off until they restarted the game. They're like, does anyone know what happened? Like, what is this? And my
They must have
first
been
thought
just-
was like, I bet they heard bonus somehow, because that's like the only track that I would describe as like pretty crazy. But
Because they must have been, sometimes like, do you ever just be like clicking your mouse, like
Oh,
you just
yeah.
like,
yeah,
going back and forth between your mouse and
through
your
the menus,
pointer?
yeah, just
or you're just
clicking
like you're
that.
just clicking randomly because you're bored, or like you're a Geometry Dash player or something, you're really good at slamming the shit out of that clicker.
And they found the secret.
Yeah, we kept it hidden for a while, but once like a few people were like, something has happened to me,
Mm-hmm.
then it was like, they know.
Right.
It's gonna, and I like secrets like that. I like Easter eggs, and it's also like when you close the game, sometimes you hear that
The
disgusting,
fart. Yeah.
fucking wet
Caught me
ass
off
fart
guard
sound.
The first time I heard it.
Yeah, I think I was the first one to ever hear it because I would sometimes
that's
get.
how I felt when I heard it too. I'm like, I must be the first person to ever hear this fart.
So I think I would get builds a bit early. Either it was me or one of the playtesters that must got it, because like that was like I closed it and I was like, or it was the first time. It was like the first day of the new upload. The first
Mhm.
time I closed it, it made the fart sound. And that was kind of. It kind of made my eyebrows go down. It was like, we mustn't do this, but we must.
Snuck that in there.
Who's this hacker in my computer?
So your music in this game, like, I got to check out your SoundCloud, and I feel like it's like very you. Like, you have a track, music for running people over. The
Yeah.
bass line in that, there's something similar about it to me, to Moon A. That track, there's like part of the bass line just feels similar.
Let me look at that so I can refresh myself, because that
Mhm.
was, I think, definitely a long time ago music for him.
That's why I almost thought maybe you developed the track like track list longer ago, just because I heard that song and it sounds like it could be like something like in Nubbies now.
Oh yeah, it's kind of similar. Although that was so long ago, and it's embarrassing a little bit to look back on these tracks because it's the thing of like when you're an amateur, you have less to kind of worry about,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very much like that song is still pretty good, but the production is not so good, but it's okay. Actually, the bass line from Moon A was inspired by. It's one of the rare inspirations. It was inspired by a song by Jun Togawa, one of my favorite artists that are not from North America or not from English-speaking countries. Bass line might be a little hard to hear, but I'll send it to you. You can listen to it later.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
It's that like such a gloomy bass line, and the way that the bass player bends those notes, it was like I gotta put this in somewhere. And that was when he was telling me to make the extra tracks, and it was like the extra tracks were like kind of a little less joyous. They were maybe you're going to the moon, man, we ain't on the ground no more.
Right, it's a little unfamiliar, a little mysterious.
Those tracks were the hardest ones in the game to make. They were so
the moon tracks,
all the remixes. It got really hard at the Sun Temple because it's like, what can I even do anymore? I've changed these so much for the first two, and I'm just on this, so I just made them kind of loud and organy and stuff.
Yeah,
but I wanted to do that because I want to do it because I really like the Sonic CD soundtrack. That's another big inspiration. Of course I said Metallic Madness, obviously, but the way the songs switch between each one, it's like, I don't know, it's just nice. It's nice that you can like a song and then even deeper like one version of it the most.
Right. Mm-hmm. What are some of like your favorite games of all time?
I'd have to say, let me think. Oh my. I'm gonna say a few series because sometimes some game series are just like they're kind of one game anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Yakuza series.
Yeah.
Very fun. I recommend.
Mm-hmm.
And they keep that's one of the things where like I think they're approaching video games right. So a lot of companies put $1 bajillion into making one game every 15 years. I'm looking at you, Rockstar and Bethesda.
Right.
Freaks. But I like the way Sega's doing it. Instead of making a brand new engine every 5 years, they do an engine upgrade every few games, but they generally take one engine per like console generation and just keep improving that one and like adding more stuff onto the base they've created. They just keep they make a new foundation. It's like they still make a new engine every 5 years. Like the old ones didn't have ragdolls, and when they added ragdolls, they were glitchy as hell, and they would sometimes, I think the physics would get caught on itself and they would spin around, fly away, which was really funny. But they're also fun, and they brought English dubs back now. But those characters have been Japanese for like 6 games at that point, and then you make them English, and it's like I miss my Japanese uncles who have been voicing these guys for 20 years. And it has been 20 years now, I think. First one was like 2005, and that's also when I came out.
Oh, you're a 2005 baby?
Yeah, man, it was fun in 2023 when I turned 18, and I just like made all the liquor store people and bartenders just like have a existential crisis because 2005 was we're 18 years old.
Yeah.
But now they don't care anymore. They can do that with the 2007ers, which that's kind of making me feel a little bit of dread that they're that old.
Well, you're making me feel a bit of dread because I was born in the 1900s.
Damn.
I know. 99. I caught the last year, so.
Oh, you ain't that old.
No.
You're not quite an uncle yet, but you just wait.
But I'm closer to 30 than I've ever been, which is pretty crazy.
Every second of the day you get closer to 30 than you've ever been, boy. That don't mean nothing.
No.
But I guess it kind of does.
Well, 2005. Like, were you?
Oh yeah, we're talking about games that I like. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, were you always a
Mario
gamer?
See, see, my dad was a gamer. He
Mm.
was buying consoles up to the PS3, and he would play games with us. And I think that really made me love him a lot and think he was the coolest guy ever. Like he's the type of guy that kind of keeps his head shaven, so I would shave my head to be just like him. And that kind of made me, and I think I've never lost any respect for him.
Yeah. So what kind of games
you know,
did he put you onto?
on PS2, it's too bad because he bought the crappy Spyro the Dragon one, the one that was kind of yucky and tried to look realistic.
Mm-hmm.
And that game, I was like 4 though, so I did not have any kind of mind for quality. It was just like, I can run and jump in this game. Dog, I'm gonna be in the starting area for hours just having fun. He likes snowmobiles, so he had like a snowmobile game on PS2 and PS3 as well. I like that game because when you hit something, the rider would fly off the snowmobile and just curl up in a ball and roll around and fly around. So fun. And on the PS3, Little Big Planet was my main jam. Little Big Planet 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. Oh yeah, I guess I'd watch my dad play Guitar Hero on the PS2 because I couldn't figure it out because I didn't know. I thought you just pressed the fret buttons. I didn't know you had to strum. It made me so frustrated. So I was like, I always made him play the song "I Love Rock and Roll" because
So
I like that song. Yeah. And then I think the time the console that he bought for us rather than for him was the Wii. And I played Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort and Mario Kart Wii and Mario Sports Mix, Mario Galaxy. Could never beat that one.
The Wii was crazy when it came out. Like, it felt like revolutionary to me. It was a great console.
But the one me and my dad would play and my brothers was New Super Mario Brothers Wii.
Yep.
That game was good.
Yep. Like the avatar of the goblin with the laptop and the is that like a pretty accurate depiction of your process? Like, are you sitting cross-legged on your bed?
No, I've got a big cushy office chair. Like, this is the big boss chair, you know what I'm saying? But other than my sitting position, generally that's how it is. I just have my little keyboard and on the screen is like kind of a transform. When I drew it, there was a lot more detail, but when you turn it into a GIF, it's like you don't draw all that. It's like 2 frames, but you ain't gonna draw all that twice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like YouTube to MP3 on that screen and there's like smoke coming out of it because that should give you a virus, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those YouTube to MP3 downloaders.
Yeah,
I've downloaded
what I do now? I just screen record stuff now. I don't care how long it takes. Yeah. Mostly it's just small samples, but you screen record and you can use VLC media player, convert any media file into any other media file, so you can go MP4 to MP3, or WAV, or anything. And that's how I get my samples.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to be represented by a green freak, maybe it's also just fun to just draw over someone's face, like that face there is like just a dude with like a big ass tongue just sticking it out.
So there's a reference to that drawing? There's a reference image somewhere? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I could probably just send it to you right now. Anyway, there he is. He's got a big tongue, dude. That's like a pancake.
So were you, like before a musician, were you an artist? Like, did you always have an interest in art, like in some capacity?
I'm the type of artist to be very untrained, I just kind of, I mean, I've done a bit, but I'm very much lazy, so I don't like to. With music, you can learn it with YouTube and stuff, so you don't. It's one of those things that you have to learn by getting involved.
Right.
And that's very hard to do when you've got TikTok brain and you've got 1,000 little toys that you can play with in your house. But I took a pause on learning art because I want to learn how to make games, because not just because I want to make games. I do have ideas for games. There's so much stuff I want to make, but mostly just an excuse to make more music. It's kind of like how Toby Fox is like, he was a composer first and an artist and a developer second. Like you look at some of his code and it's wild. Like instead of just rotating some stuff, he would draw or he would copy and paste it and rotate it and make each frame just like crazy. But you know, he made a good game. And I kind of want to follow his approach of like what he did was he made like a alternate universe or at least a related thing with Undertale of his dream thing, and Deltarune is like his dream project. So I kind of want to end up doing that.
Yeah, that is something I wanted to ask you about, like game development. Like, I mean, you mentioned Deltarune, like RPG. Is that like what's your dream game to make?
I'll tell you my whole game plan here, honestly.
Sure.
Because you know, it's fun to just plan things. You know, I feel like it's like a human instinct is to just like write shit down and plan shit, even if it's not gonna happen. But my big game plan is I've got this little character that's just a little green ball with two little chicken legs called Green Freak. He is gonna be my like mascot. You know, for the start, I'm gonna like make simple genres of games. First, I want to make like a shoot 'em up, kind of like Gradius, like just a side-scrolling shoot 'em up with him, just as an excuse to like make some rockin' tunes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll make like a couple more things, like maybe a platform or something, just simple stuff. I might not even sell it for money. I'll just put it up and be like, oh my look at my practice here. And then once I'm good at coding, I want to make an RPG with him. It's a very simple, like collect the 4 MacGuffins. I've never understood that word, MacGuffins. It always made me think like McMuffin, bro. Like, what? Are we going to McDonald's, dude, or what? I've got to search that up, unless you know.
I'm looking it up right now.
But yeah, you know, back to what I was saying, you know, I'd start off with that guy. And then I would make him a game within the real universe, you know, like, so a game within a game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like at the end of the RPG, that's like the end of the Green Freak saga.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, it would kind of foreshadow the start of like this true universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I would make another RPG that was still not very serious, but that has a bit more finesse. And then like when the big thing will be like the true game in that universe that is like a really well done RPG. And then after that, I want to take one of the characters and make him lose his memory and then start making games with that. That could be a good idea.
So you got a bit of a roadmap. Like,
Yeah.
when you get ideas, like, do you write them down? Like, how do you keep track of everything?
I go into a Google Doc and just kind of sprawl things out. Like, I got a big document with the whole story of the big RPG I want to make. Like, the entire story is in there, I think. I have to check on it because, you know, I've just got everything in there, man. I've got good ideas.
So what do you do when you feel like, you know, you're kind of stuck creatively? Like, I mean, I felt this before. Like, I just feel like I've got nothing going on up there. Like, is there anything that you do to kind of get the juices flowing?
I'm just a thinker, man. I'm always thinking, but it also makes me very forgetful and a bit unfocused. So, you know, it's like, it's okay, but if I'm like, I feel like a lot of thoughts go to waste sometimes when I'm like at work and I've got nowhere to write it down. I just kind of let them pass.
Mm-hmm. When you, I mean, like beyond thoughts though, like real life, like, you know, do you take like any inspiration from, I don't know, like nature or like politics, like things going on in the world? Like, I know you say you're not very influenced, but like, what, like, do you really, you know, connect with?
I don't know. I feel like it's just doing menial tasks, like just stuff that is just hands-on, brain off. Kind of lets me think a bit, you know, which I think is kind of stripped away with all the TikTok stuff. I think people don't let themselves think anymore, or at least I think there's definitely a lot of people who have good ideas that aren't letting themselves think, especially unemployed people, because then they don't got no job where they can be, you know, just doing something.
And then just, I wanted to ask, like, you know, in terms of your goals, like you mentioned making your own game at some point. But do you think you'll work on like some more game soundtracks like for other people in the future?
I've had some people ask me, and they, you know, like I said, they treat me like I'm some type of, I don't know, some type of person who's above them. But it's like, they say, even if they want like something for free, I wouldn't mind making some for other people, because I just like making music. I mean, you know, I've always been a doodler, you know, but recently, I guess I'm a little trained, because when I was in trade school a bit ago, whenever I was on lunch break, I had a little pad and paper, and I would go on Instagram, and if I saw somebody who was funny looking or looked fun to draw, I would just like sketch a portrait of them. And that kind of eventually got me good enough to kind of just freehand like funny looking faces, which I think I've seen a lot of people on TikTok who have that skill too, which they're kind of like just doodlers who kind of figured out how faces work at least. But you know, I'd like to get good at art, but I feel like, you know, it's not a priority right now. I'm fine with my funny art, but I feel like if you get good at art, then even your rushed art will look good. I feel like, but there's also a quality to like amateur art that a pro artist cannot recreate.
That's true. I think that's what's sick about, you know, game development too, is that you can kind of bring a lot of those like creative interests together, and you know, the more you work on it, the better you'll get.
Video games is like, you know, I don't think they're better than movies, but I think it's like they're one of like the most,
they're the best
collage forms of art. Like, you know, like a collage, it's just like there's music and there's programming and there's art and there's 3D modeling and there's voice acting and there's, I already said music, you know, there's like it's everything, and there's animating, which I also have animations on my YouTube channel, which is something I used to kind of be into. But I learned how to animate better than I learned how to draw, which is something you wouldn't expect to be able to do. But it's kind of like I know how to drive a car, I don't know how to fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you answered like a bunch of stuff that I had. Like, I appreciate that. And yeah, like anything you want to like mention or like plug, anything you want to let people know?
All my music, you can buy it on Bandcamp. It's $3 Canadian, which is like nothing in American dollars. So, you know, people like to add tips to that. They had a lot of tips. People paid like 20 Canadian dollars for that, which is, you know, 14 American, which again, it's like nothing. But, you know, I'd say if you want to support me, buy my music on Bandcamp. If you just want to listen to music, it's on YouTube. I've got regular versions and 30-minute versions if you're trying to study and you just want to listen to the pause menu. But, you know, it's like I'm hoping for success in the future for everybody. You know, I think everybody deserves what I have had here. You know, I think it's the human instinct to be creative. I think that's what kind of separates us from lesser animals, you know? And I think everyone deserves to be creative in some way.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well said. Vinegart, thank you so much.
Yeah.